Zach Braff's Dr. John J.D. Dorian and Sarah Chalk's Dr. Elliot Reed form Scrubs' most on-again off-again romantic pairing, with their relationship going through many peaks and troughs throughout the medical sitcom's run. Their frustratingly sporadic dynamic spans all 9 seasons of Scrubs, but the show confirms the status of their relationship just before it was cancelled after Scrubs. Med School made too many drastic changes to the formula to maintain the sitcom's fan base. However, with a Scrubs revival on the way, it's about to be revealed what they have been up to since. Although Scrubs is often overshadowed by its contemporaries, JD and Elliot had one of the best will they won't they romances on TV in the 2000s. At certain points, their relationship became a difficult one to root for, and there were even times when it felt like they would subvert expectations and never end up together. Thankfully, they did turn out to be each other's happy ending, but watching them almost miss the chance of a lasting relationship over and over again is one of Scrubs' most wonderfully frustrating storylines. JD and Elliot meet in the Scrubs pilot. They cross paths less than 3 minutes into the episode. Sarah Chalk as Elliot Reed and Zach Braff as JD in Scrubs looking scared. Scrubs Season 1, Episode 1, My First Day, marks the first encounter between JD and Elliot. JD's immediate nervousness communicates his attraction to Chalk's character, and his inner monologue confirms this several times. In turn, Elliot also becomes flirtatious with JD. The show strongly implies that Donald Faison's Dr. Chris Turk is also attracted to Elliot, but this particular pairing is never explored any further, and he quickly meets Judy Ray as Carla Espinosa and becomes enamored with her instead. JD and Elliot's arc in the Scrubs pilot is a perfect summary of their larger storyline and romantic future. While there are several moments that tease the promise of them ending up together, there are also several moments that spoil that dynamic and cause them to fall out with one another. They end the episode as friends after clashing throughout, but the door remains firmly open for so much more. JD and Elliot first sleep together in Scrubs Season 1, Episode 14, My Drug Buddy. This sparks the true beginning of JD and Elliot's will they won't they storyline. Sarah Chalk's Elliot Reed kissing Zach Braff's JD in Scrubs. Scrubs didn't even make it to the end of its first season without having JD and Elliot hook up for the first time. With JD's relationship with Elizabeth Bogusher's Alex Hansen ending in the episode's closing moments, Elliot admits she was jealous and the pair start to get hot and heavy in My Drug Buddy. Their new romance is one of the biggest focal points of the following episode, My Bed Banter and beyond. However, this iteration of their relationship doesn't last, and their ensuing breakup kickstarts the start of their endless switching between being friends and significant others. Scrubs returns to the JD and Elliot storyline countless times throughout the show's run, but various obstacles and scenarios almost always result in them parting ways again and returning to their more familiar pairing as friends and colleagues, and not necessarily both at the same time. There are times later when Elliot despises JD, although JD never really feels that way about Chalk's character. In fact, the opposite is true, and JD is often jealous whenever Elliot is seeing someone else. JD breaks up Elliot and Sean in Scrubs Season 3, but then rejects her. Elliot and Sean could easily have gone the distance if JD hadn't intervened. After appearing as Sean Kelly in 2 Scrubs Season 1 episodes, Scott Foley features heavily in Scrubs Season 3, reprising the same role but this time as Elliot's main love interest. The show's 3rd season is a pivotal one in the history of JD and Elliot's romantic journey. It's very obvious to pretty much everyone involved that JD hates Sean for stepping in and making Elliot fall for him. Annoyingly, the show includes a huge twist just as it appears that JD has managed to win Elliot back from Foley's character after baring his soul to Elliot at the end of My Fault. JD is then haunted throughout My Self-Examination by the realization that he only wanted what he couldn't have. Although he tries to honor his decision to be with her, JD ultimately admits to Elliot that he doesn't love her at the end of the episode, and it creates a situation that seems impossible to come back from. It wasn't until 5 seasons later that the possibility of them ending up together started to seem genuine. JD and Elliot finally get together, and stay together, in Scrubs Season 8. Scrubs just about managed to make sure JD and Elliot had a romantic reunion that would last. Between Scrubs Seasons 3 and 8, JD and Elliot each have various love interests that eventually burn out. That being said, JD creates strong ties with arguably Scrubs' most important guest star, Elizabeth Banks' Dr. Kim Briggs. JD and Kim, although they don't stay together, have a child. In an act of sitcom parody, Banks' character then ends up with Sean, who acts as a second father to JD's son. Caught up in the whirlwind of dramatic romances and enormous storylines of Scrubs Season 8 is JD and Elliot considering whether it's time for them to commit to one another.